pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Carson. Dr. Fife.
Here.
Mrs. O'Rear. Here. Mr. Polakowski.
Here.
Mrs. Raymond.
Here.
Mrs. Rhodes.
Here.
Mrs. Heather Smith. Mrs. Kristen Smith.
Here.
Present via Zoom satellite, I guess. Mrs. Williams.
Here.
For the record, Mr. Carson and Mrs. Heather Smith did indicate they would not be present this evening.
And we were in executive session prior to this for personnel and legal matters. Citizens' comments?
I do not have anything.
I don't.
Solicitor information?
Tonight, you will be asked to pass a resolution to approve engaging PFM, Pennsylvania Financial Management, as your financial advisor for the incurring of debt and refunding existing debt of 2020 Series and 2020 Series A, in order to get the $769,000 of new money to pay for the roof project at the Southmoreland Primary Center. Also to approve the engagement of Dinsmore Shoal, and particularly Mr. Pastel as your bond note counsel. You will be, I brought with me and put down for the public the resolutions for approving a LRTA for the East Huntington Township portion of the school district, which was passed this afternoon by East Huntington Township. I've included some material concerning what's called a guidance from the U.S. Department of Education. It's not the same as a regulation, but it's announcing their position as to the applicability of Title IX, protecting students from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity as being included within the definition of being based on sex, sex. Based upon the Supreme Court's decision in Bostock v. Clayton County. So that is something that the school board, as a policy matter, should be directing its attention to in the near future as to how you're going to approach that. Obviously, Title IX can have a lot of repercussions to it because that is the potential for having federal funding denied. When you get to the portion of, there's also a resolution, it's part of the handout, to have both PFM, if you engage them, PFM and Dinsmore Shoal, to go forward with the process of preparing advertisements and a meeting that you would have in order to approve a resolution to incur that debt and to issue new notes or bonds in order to refund your existing debt for the two series which I mentioned. That means, are you going to do this July 8th? It's an aggressive schedule to have them come back and present that information and have you approve it, but it is possible. But in order to do that, you sort of need to make a decision. You do need to make a decision tonight that you want them to come back on July 8th ready to do that. And here's why this is, in my mind, significant. You have issues with the month of July about having an extra meeting. I'm not sure whether you'll end up having another extra meeting anyway, but one that you actually plan on. I get concerned whenever you have long wait times before you get to a final resolution, which would, if you wait, would be August 12th or August 19th, as to what could happen with the bond market and interest rates. So if you want to move forward and try to cut down on that risk of interest rates changing against you, is the idea behind trying to move forward with that. So you'll be asked to also approve them coming back on that specific day. And that may have to be added to the resolution. All this activity has been occurring even after, most of it actually, board docs went out. Because as information came in, we just kept dealing with it so that you wouldn't be far behind on this and not be able to act on it just because it wasn't in ahead of time. So those are pretty much the basics on the agenda. I understand that you might be seeking a motion to suspend the rules to alter the schedule, the agenda tonight, to be able to vote on some of the vital items earlier in the meeting. And also, this is just a brief statement that I had previously informed the school board orally and then in writing, but not publicly, that I would not be seeking reappointment as your solicitor for the fiscal year 21-22. I also just wanted to say it's been an honor and a privilege to have served the Southmoreland School Board for all these years, and for which I'm very appreciative. So I wish you well in the future, and you have a lot of business to do yet tonight. Thank you.
Budget updates.
I laid in front of you an updated copy, 3-page summary of the final general fund budget. Reflects the changes that you authorized at the June 17th meeting, which is on page 3 of the handout. Also laid in front of you a copy, unsigned copy, of course, of the final general fund budget. Now, there was a final general fund budget on board docs, but I had to handwrite the June 24th date on it because the PDE program in which you input the budget will only allow you to use the current date when you're actually in the system. You can't push in a date until that day happens. So this morning I went in and put in June 24th. And I have fresh 3 copies sitting in front of the board president's seat with flags for signatures after the budget is approved. One signed copy for the superintendent's office, one for the board secretary's minute book, and one for the business office. And of course, I'll use the business office copy to upload the actual signature pages itself. The document itself is already resides inside the PDE system. That's it.
Are there any questions?
Well, there are copies of both documents sitting down front in case anybody in the public wants to peruse the state budget form or the summary sheet.
I might have a question. I just want to see. No other questions? Okay, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Where's his real estate tax? Okay, it's so low versus what? Yeah, the millage.
It's two different taxable assessed systems, two different counties. Two different counties and two very different tax assessment systems. So the millage rates are calculated separately for each county. And there's a rather sophisticated and complicated process built into the program called the multi-counting rebalancing based on methodology of section 672.1 of the school code that takes the information, taxable assessed values, property market values, et cetera, and rebalances the tax burden between the two communities. So if you look at the page 2 of the summary, you'll see the disparity in the two assessment systems. Fayette is a rather newer reassessment. I forget what year theirs was done, probably within maybe the last 10 years perhaps, before I arrived here 8 years ago. In Westmoreland County's assessment, it was last done, as I understand, 1973. So the assessments are way out of whack in relation to each other. So where the average homestead in Westmoreland County is barely 17,000, Fayette County it's 71,000. And there's a factor in there to try to compare, make it apples to apples. But we're not going to bore you with all those details. But enough to say that because of the two county system and the different assessment methodologies, one is very old, from 73, one is fresher, perhaps 10 years ago or less, that causes this great disparity in the numbers.
Another way to understand it is that if you have an assessment in Westmoreland County, there is a number that is computed by the state, and that number now is higher than 6. I remember when it was approximately 3, going back to Volkswagen days. And you multiply that number times the assessment, and the best way I can explain it to you is that's what the county has to think your property is worth for market value purposes. It may or may not coincide with what actually happens, but that's the way it's being treated. In Fayette County, it's approximately I don't have this memorized, it's about 1.4, I think. So in order to, you have these great differences because of the failure to reassess, and then that process has to be adjusted in reducing those back to market value, and then apportioning the taxation between the two counties, the portions of the school district that are in the two counties, in order to equalize millage for that, which is what Jim was referring to here at the end. But your narrower question is the assessments in the two counties are just totally different because of that.
Are there any other questions? Okay, now I need a motion to suspend the rules to take things out of order. We are going to move the budget discussion, the taxation, continuing taxes, homestead and farmstead exclusion next, and then we are going to move into...
especially the real estate tax.
Yes. We're going to move then into the presentation by Weisberg, Hart, and Kramer, and the approval of a new district solicitor, possibly. So I need a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? PDE 2028 final general fund budget.
Be it resolved that the Board of School Directors of the Southmoreland School District adopts the fiscal year 2021-2022 final general fund budget on Form PDE 2028, attached hereto and incorporated by reference, with expenditures of $33,829,921 and revenues of $33,152,359, and the use of assigned fund balance of $660,807 and unassigned fund balance of $16,755 as the final budget for the general fund. This requires millages of 85.9442 mills for Westmoreland County and 17.4419 mills for Fayette County by separate resolution. The school board president is authorized and directed to sign the accuracy certification statement, ACS, the board secretary to attest thereto, and the superintendent is also to sign the ACS, and the business manager to transmit the ACS and the final general fund budget and enact real estate tax millage and enacted ongoing taxes to the Pennsylvania Department of Education, PDE, utilizing the Consolidated Financial Reporting System, CFRS.
Need a motion?
I will make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, now we went from a $1.8 million deficit at one point to a $33,000 operating surplus, is that right?
Yes.
And we did that by going to a bank and borrowing money, is that right?
Not completely, no.
Not completely.
No, we've taken a lot of money from the fund balance. You have $510,807 that was moved from your assigned fund balance for cyber charter schools. And we've taken $150,000 from the proceeds of Roughdale building sale assigned for capital projects.
Okay, where did we put that money? Where did that $150,000 go?
That $150,000 is going towards paving. There's also a track project, sidewalks.
Okay, it did not go back into the account from which it came.
What do you mean the account? in which
Well,
it came?
we sold Roughdale for $150,000, and we were going to use that
Yes,
for the Roughdale roof. I mean, for the Alberton roof, I'm sorry, for the Alberton roof. So because we didn't, we're spending it on the paving and the
sidewalks.
sidewalks.
And track project we still have in the budget.
And the track project. Okay, because we took out the tennis courts, we took out $350,000 though from the roofing project because we borrowed money instead of using some of ours. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that's how you balance the budget. And this budget has a maximum tax increase in addition to that. Okay, well, we're going to talk about this bond stuff later, right?
Correct. Is there any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Kristen Smith?
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Fike?
No.
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries. Do we need 6?
5, correct.
Yes.
So we have 5. Motion carries 5 yes, 1 no, 1 pass, 2 absent.
A real estate taxation.
Be it resolved that the Southmoreland School Board approves the adoption of the following real estate taxes in accordance with Section 687 of School Code of 1949 as amended, and is already calculated and stated herein using the multi-county rebalancing based upon the methodology of Public School Code Section
672.1A1 using Pennsylvania Department of Education's CFRS-GSB application for multi-county school districts and within the index of Special Session Act 1 of June 27, 2006, PL 1873, as amended June 30, 2011, PL 148, number 2553, PS 6926.101, etc. Number 1, a tax of 85.9442 mills upon all real estate subject to taxation within Westmoreland County in the Southmoreland School District. The rate of taxation in dollars and cents on each $100 of assessed valuation of taxable property is $8.59442. Number 2. Dollars. A tax of 17.4419 mills upon all real estate subject to taxation within Fayette County in the Southmoreland School District. The rate of taxation in dollars and cents on each $100 of assessed valuation of taxable property is $1.74419. And number 3, the real estate tax shall be due and payable as follows: 2% discount when paid from August 1st to September 30th, 2021. Face value when paid from October 1st to November 30th, 2021. 10% penalty when paid on December 1st, 2021 and thereafter.
I need a motion. I need a second.
I will second.
Discussion.
So this is a tax increase, right?
Yes. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Dr. Fike?
No.
Mrs. O'Rear? Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Kristen Smith?
Uh-oh.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
Are you there? She was kicked out. Can we hold? There she
There
comes.
she is.
Mrs. Smith, can you hear us?
We were voting on real estate taxation. Did you hear all of that?
And so you called, I could hear, but my vote is yes.
Voted yes, you said?
You voted yes?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 5 yes, 1 no, 1 pass, 2 absent.
Continuing taxes.
Be it resolved that the Board approves the continuation of all taxes levied by the School District of Southmoreland in full force and effect, including those under Act 511, the Local Tax Enabling Act 53 PS Statute 6901, etc. Earned income tax according to Act 511 at 1/2%. Emergency and municipal service tax according to Act 511 at $5 per person. And real estate transfer tax according to Act 511 at 1/2%.
I need a motion.
I will make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
$5 per person. I don't understand this. What is this for? Basically how I'm reading it, like anything that we did in taxes, we give $5 per person to municipal services?
No, that's the name of the tax, the local municipal services tax. And it's divided up between the school district and the local municipality based upon the statute.
The local tax.
And it's a local tax in which if you are employed, you pay $5.
Used to be known as the occupational privilege tax in the old days. It was $10, split evenly, 5 and 5. Several years ago, I don't know, maybe 10 or more years ago, they changed it to what is known as now the emergency municipal service tax. They raised it to $52. They held the school district share at $5. Municipalities get $47. The tax collectors collect that. They send us the $5 portion to us. They send the $47 portion to the municipality. And the other tax is the earned income tax, which is a 1% local tax. Again, half goes to the school board, half goes to the municipality.
That's earned income tax from?
That's earned
Wages,
income tax.
earned income.
Wages. Just earned income, not personal income.
Isn't it true that some school districts don't even bother with that $5?
No. No, I think what you're referring to is probably the old per capita
capita
tax, the head
tax.
tax. And I used to have a per capita tax in the school districts, I understand. It was,
Yeah, we did.
there are two portions of it. There's the $5 tax in section 679 of the school code, which was all for the school district. And then there was the $10 portion that was enacted back in 1965 called Act 511. Again, that was split. $5 to the school district, $5 to the local municipality. So, the school boards then would enact both, and you would get $10. We did that up in Ligonier Valley, but when I came here, you were not collecting a per capita tax, which I think is, I think that explains it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
What's the difference? I mean, I understand what the difference is as far as earning tax and stuff, but I mean, why is there a tax on top of a tax? Why are we taxing, the millage, and then we also then?
There's a whole different theory behind
The
taxation.
tax for the millage is against real estate.
Okay, and this is against wages.
Well, one of them is against wages, earned income, actually, whether it's wages or salary or profit.
And well, that's
the real
on
estate
the buy and sell
the real
property.
estate transfer tax is on buying selling property, which is also split between the local municipality, the school
1%
district,
tax.
and the state. So we get half of 1% on that. And
So for instance, when like Busy Beaver bought out that whole complex,
I'm sorry, when what?
when Busy Beaver bought out the whole complex down at County Market, that's what this refers to.
Yes, where you buy or sell your house,
Oh, okay.
unless you are transferring it to a close relative or some other exempt party. But if you're selling it to a stranger. So there are different assets or different ways of looking at income.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
It's over here. Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes? Yes. Dr. Fike?
No.
Mrs. Kristen Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 no, 2 absent.
We now have a presentation by Weiss. Oh, I'm sorry.
Farmstead.
I'm missing one. Homestead and Farmstead exclusion.
Resolved by the Board of School Directors of Southmoreland School District that homestead and farmstead exclusion real estate tax assessment reductions are authorized for the school year beginning July 1st, 2021, under the provisions of the Homestead Property Exclusion Program Act, part of Act 50 of 1998, and the Taxpayer Relief Act, Act 1 of 2006 as follows. Number one, aggregate amount available for homestead and farmstead real estate tax reduction. The following amounts are available for homestead and farmstead real estate tax reductions for the school year beginning July 1st, 2021. A, gambling tax funds. The Pennsylvania Department of Education, PDE, has notified the school district that PDE will pay to the school district during the school year pursuant to Act 1, 53 PS 6926.505B as a property tax reduction allocation funded by gambling tax funds, the amount of $938,136. B, Philadelphia tax credit reimbursement funds. PDE has notified the school district that PDE will pay to the school district during the school year pursuant to Act 153 PS 6926.324.3 as reimbursement for Philadelphia tax credits claimed against the school district earned income tax by school district resident taxpayers, the amount of $33. C, aggregate amount available. Adding these amounts, the aggregate amount available during the school year for real estate tax reduction is $938,169. Number 2, homestead farmstead numbers. Pursuant to Act 50, 53 PACS 8584I and Act 1, 53 PS 6926.341 G3, the counties have provided the school district with certified reports listing approved homestead and approved farmsteads as follows. A, homestead property numbers. The number of approved homesteads within the school district is 4,147, 3,413 in Westmoreland County and 734 in Fayette County. B, farmstead property number. The number of approved farmsteads within the school district is 55, 47 in Westmoreland County and 8 in Fayette County. C, homestead farmstead combined number. Adding these numbers, the aggregate number of approved homesteads and approved farmsteads is 4,202. Number 3, real estate tax reduction calculation. The school board has decided that the homestead exclusion amount and the farmstead exclusion amount shall be equal, dividing the paragraph 1E aggregate amount available during the school year for real estate tax reductions of $938,169 by the paragraph 2C aggregate number of approved homesteads and approved farmsteads of 4,202. The maximum real estate reduction amount applicable to each approved homestead and to each approved farmstead is $223.27. Number 4, homestead farmstead exclusion authorization July 1st, 2021 tax bills. The tax notice issued to the owner of each approved homestead within the school district shall reflect a homestead exclusion real estate assessed value reduction equal to the lesser of A, the county established assessed value of the homestead, or B, the paragraph 4 maximum real estate assessed value reduction of $2,597.85 in Westmoreland County and $12,800.78 in Fayette County. The tax notice issued to the owner of each approved farmstead within the school district shall reflect an additional farmstead exclusion real estate assessed value reduction equal to the lesser of A, the county established assessed value of the farmstead, or B, the paragraph 4 maximum real estate assessed value reduction of $2,597.85 in Westmoreland County and $12,800.78 in Fayette County. For purposes of this resolution, approved homestead and approved farmstead shall mean homesteads and farmsteads listed in the report referred to in paragraph 2 above and received by the school district from the county assessment office on or before May 1st pursuant to Act 153 PS 6926.341 G3 based on homestead farmstead applications filed with the county assessment office on or before March 1st. This paragraph 4 shall apply to tax notices issued based on the initial tax duplicate used in issuing initial real estate tax notices for the school year, which will be issued on or promptly after July 1st and will not apply to interim real estate tax bills, and be resolved this 24th day of June 2021.
A motion? Need a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Kristen Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear? Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Now we have a presentation by Weiss, Burkhart, and Kramer.
Yes, I'd like to thank Amy Zundel and Megan Turnbull, her assistant, for joining us this evening. I don't know if, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize for any.
No, don't worry about it.
But I would like to thank you for joining us this evening. You're going to do a brief presentation on the services that your firm, Weiss, Burkhart, and Kramer, could potentially be given to the district.
Can you all hear
Thank
me
you.
okay?
Thank you.
So while Megan passes out our proposal, our list of clients, and our references, I'll just start by giving you an overview of the firm, an overview of my own experience, because I would be the attorney from Weiss, Burkhart, Kramer who would be attending your meetings and managing your legal services. Weiss, Burkhart, Kramer started as the law offices of Ira Weiss in 1973. Ira Weiss is a name that's pretty well known in the area of school law. Ira makes numerous appearances on the 5 o'clock news, where my parents text me and say, "We saw Ira again." So he's been in the business for over 40 years. In 2014, the firm became Weiss, Burkhart, Kramer, and Ira took on 2 partners, Jocelyn Kramer and Janet Burkhart, and then we've just been continuing to expand our team of school solicitors and municipal solicitors over those years. We are based in Pittsburgh, but we do have clients all over Western Pennsylvania, both solicitorships and special counsel clients. Right now we have 19 solicitorships, primarily in Allegheny County, Beaver County, and Washington County. We also serve as special counsel for 24 school districts in the area. We are unique in that our only clients are education and municipal entities. So we are a public sector law firm, and we are very proud of that, and we've been able to tailor our services to the needs of our clients over the years. Again, my name's Amy Zundel. I've been with the firm since 2008. I was hired by Ira out of law school. It was my first job. I've been a school solicitor for my entire career, 13 years, and I have truly been able to learn from the best in the business. Right now, I also serve as the primary solicitor for Baldwin-Whitehall School District, Bethel Park School District, and Steel Center for CTE. So I'm the go-to attorney, I think, when it comes to the 51 South Hills corridor of school districts. And that's for good reason. So I live with my family in Whitehall, but I grew up in Connellsville. I'm familiar with the area. My parents still live in Connellsville. So County Market, when you mentioned County Market, my sister worked at County Market when she was in school. And that when this opportunity came up, that was exciting to me. So we have, again, been expanding business. We were excited about that. We've been able to really, I think, support our clients well through the awful ride that COVID was. All of us banded together and just put all of our collective heads together to get through that time and support our clients in every need that they presented. That's another unique thing about Weiss, Burkhart, Kramer. It's not just me, it's not just Ms. Turnbull when it comes to her clients. We have a group of attorneys who work together. We bounce ideas off of each other. Novel issues that come up, we are able to navigate. There's a good chance that somebody in the firm has handled something similar. So we think that that optimizes the services that we can provide for clients. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I can speak to the different areas of practice that we feature. So in your in the materials that you have, we have a little summary of each of our areas of practice: special education law, general school law, employment matters, labor relations. We have negotiated numerous collective bargaining agreements for our clients. We just closed out Bethel Park's custodial maintenance group contract. We settled that last week. So I personally and our firm, we have a wealth of experience in that area. Right to know law, we serve as the right to know law officer for many of our clients. Some clients prefer to keep that in-house and consult with us as things get toward litigation. But for many of our clients, we serve as the right to know officer, where we will issue the initial response to the right to know request. We will review the materials that are being requested over the 30-day period and determine what will be produced and what will not be produced, and then handling any appeal of a right to know denial from a school district. Same with charter schools. We work with our clients from the front end all the way through from a renewal request, an initial charter school request, all the way through appeals at the Charter Appeals Board. I'll talk a little bit about the special education practice that we have, because I think that's very unique. Special education law and students with disabilities has become, over the last 10 years, a very highly litigated area. We at our firm have 5 attorneys who dedicate at least 50% of their practice to special education law, from advising on day-to-day special education issues that come up, attending IEP meetings, litigating cases in front of an administrative law judge, all the way up to litigating in front of the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. And I have handled cases at all levels in that area. So I'm going to throw it to Megan to talk a little bit more about the support that we provide clients on property assessment work, contract review, and bid procurement issues.
Okay. So again, thank you for having us. We appreciate it. I think I really appreciate being able to do this during a public meeting, so we get to see kind of how your meetings flow, the role of the solicitor, which can be really unique depending on the place, and getting a sense of some of those financial challenges. So, there may be others who would sit in the audience and not have realized kind of what that vote just was on the budget and the numbers and why it was so important to get somebody back on. I spend a lot of my time supporting business managers or directors of finance. I'm also a municipal solicitor, and so I think the synergies that I've experienced between the two areas of law do often come down to real estate, tax assessment, those particular areas. Those are not unique to me. Amy does as well, but when we're doing the sale of an unused property, those are all things that you can rest assured, although we don't have the institutional knowledge we have of your specific school district within our law firm. I mean, we do have the knowledge, the experience, the forms. I mean, all of that practical experience that creates the efficiencies that are so important for you and for your bottom line in terms of the budget. It's sometimes difficult to approach a new client and say, okay, here's an hourly rate. And what the piece that you don't know is, well, how efficient are you, right? And I think what you can see is that the number of clients that we have, the range of clients that we have. I represent Ambridge Area School District, so in Beaver County, which is the largest school district in Beaver County. But I also help service Riverside Beaver, which is one of the smallest school districts in Beaver County. And so we have a range of clients in terms of needs and size, and we stand prepared on the tax side of things, on the real estate side of things, to continue to do the good work that your solicitor, I mean, I can very easily see, was doing this evening in his solicitor report with the LERTA, and some of those functions that you would rely on the solicitor for. And same with contract review, whether it is a small contract, a giant contract. I mean, those are all functions that we are familiar with. And oftentimes, I mean, I think some of the value that we can provide in having a standard service agreement. I mean, something that you can use on an ongoing basis to serve your needs, and then you let us know what you need from us and when you need it, and then we stand prepared to do those things. So in terms of local taxation and real estate, does anyone have any questions? I know that there were some questions, and I think they're aptly answered by your administrative team on tax and real estate and anything like that. But I'm happy to address anything specifically. And then bonds. Bonds are coming up often, especially refunds this year, and I think it's because the bond market is doing the things that they are. I mean, I think we have clients who have done refundings as recently as 3 or 4 years ago that are still finding that the bond market right now is favorable enough to go back and go through this exercise. So I would anticipate that most of those steps would have been taken should you wish to retain us, but we would certainly have the skills and the knowledge to finish up anything that may be remaining if that was something still on your docket.
You're certainly giving Mr. Pascal. I've worked with him
and because we are I'm sorry, go ahead.
In your brochure, you list current solicitorships, which I'm assuming are the school districts. But on the next page, it says special counsel assignments. What's the difference between those two things?
Yeah, I'm happy to explain that. So with the solicitorships, we have a retainer agreement with those clients. The proposal that we provided to Southmoreland was for $500 a month, and that covers attendance at your meetings. It covers consultation on just day-to-day matters. And then the billable rate applies to matters that we are ongoing personnel matters is a good example, and individual cases that arise. For our special counsel clients, the retainer sort of goes out the window. We're not their first call. They've got another solicitor who's their first call, who attends meetings. But as a special issue comes up, for example, many of our special counsel clients, we are special counsel for special education and student matters, or we're special counsel for investigations, discrimination investigations, tax assessment work, policy work. So there's an expertise that our firm can provide in certain areas where we may not have the capacity to attend their meetings on an ongoing basis, or they have somebody else that they just prefer to be at the meetings for whatever reason.
So they use you in a special way?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Time to come and solve a particular problem or
Right.
or a set of work that they want to delegate.
But with the school districts, you're involved in the entire picture.
Entire picture, day-to-day matters, attendance at board meetings.
I had asked this question before. Is there someone who is dedicated to Southmoreland on your staff?
Yes, it would be me.
It'll be you.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. And like I said, I have 13 years of experience as a school solicitor. I have litigated cases. I'm the number one that our clients call and I answer. So I'm excited to take on a new opportunity such as this.
Didn't you say you lived in Connellsville?
Yeah, my parents still live in Connellsville.
They still live there.
I grew up in Connellsville.
So if we have these 20-hour meetings, you have somewhere to go?
have a nice bedroom if I need to stop off. Yeah.
And Amy is very modest, but she's a fine, I mean, she is a fine attorney.
Thank you, Megan.
Amy can't say there's something she is.
Yes, so I work with Baldwin Whitehall School District, Bethel Park School District, and Steel Center, which is the Career and Technology Center. They are clients that we've had existing. But, you know, anytime that we put in a proposal to a new school district, we are assessing, you know, current workloads, current capacity, because we would never want to, we need to be able to make sure that as we stand here today, that we can dedicate the time that you need. Absolutely. And as I'm sure your solicitor can tell you, that the need ebbs and flows many times. And we have a wonderful, wonderful staff of dedicated folks, some of whom have been with with the firm since the early 1990s, that we rely on. It's not just one person, it's a very capable team that supports the work. Yeah, somebody would come in my place. We have several attorneys. Jocelyn Kramer, one of the named partners, has indicated that she'd be happy to cover if that ever needed to occur. We have 15 attorneys, all of whom have experience in advising school boards at public meetings. So there's always going to be somebody who is able to attend. I don't miss meetings, though, generally. But yeah, I'm glad you asked, because those are exactly the kinds of questions that you have to ask. Once COVID hit and we all started to do more meetings remotely, I have to say that was a way in which I could still meet my clients' needs, but meet all of their, meet everybody, because you limit the time in commuting. So if you would, I'm interested to hear from you about whether that's something that you are welcome, that you would be comfortable with. Even if it's not, certainly board meetings are very, very important, but if it's a meeting with, on a certain matter, is a remote meeting something that's possible? I think we've all switched to remote meetings pretty routinely.
Kind of related to that, whether it's remote or in person, I had a question that when we were reviewing the fee proposal, your fee proposal doesn't really state anything specific about charges related to travel.
Right.
And so I wanted to ask about, and I'm assuming from the way this is worded that the meetings that the 2 meetings that you come to are included in that $500 retainer.
That's correct.
But then meetings beyond that, is travel billed? Is it billed at the regular hourly rate? Is it billed at a half rate? What is the situation with that?
It's billed at a regular hourly rate. However, I will tell you that most often I would not bill the whole entire time that it would take to travel here. There's travel time that comes into it, and typically I think it would end up being more of a half time rate. But that's something that, we recognize that there's a distance involved.
Right.
And I think that that's something that also, if the board and administration is comfortable with doing a meeting virtually, that saves billable hours on your end, and it could present a convenience. But we're really, at the end of the day, I think it's important for me to communicate. The client's needs are what we need to hear, and I think most of us in the firm bend over backwards to meet the client's needs, because that's just what we do as school solicitors. So.
I have some clients that are some distance away. Sometimes, a few people will just make sure, we'll just arrange that, the meetings that we need to have, there's a couple of them that maybe this is obviously the superintendent. You dovetail those with a meeting, and so one kind of flows into the other, and that makes it, there's all sorts of efficiencies that are kind of developed that way. But we absolutely will work with you to make things work.
Mary Ellen, our assistant, put those together. By the way, the client list is updated from what we sent you, Mr. Masha. So that the one in the folder is the most updated client list.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions that we can address? Well, before I close out, I want to congratulate your outgoing solicitor on what seems to have been a long run and a very good relationship that you developed with Southmoreland School Board. And I appreciate the time that you've been able to give us tonight. And I look forward to potentially working with all of you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Approval of district solicitor.
The board is asked to review and evaluate the attached solicitor's proposals. The board is asked to approve the firm of Weiss, Burkhart, and Kramer as the district solicitor.
Need a motion?
I will make the motion.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Christine wanted to know it.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brayman?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Kristen Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear? Yes. Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries, 7 yes, 2 absent.
Thank you.
He's a great person to work with.
July 1.
We have one meeting in July. That'll be July 8th.
So far.
Stop saying so far. We have one meeting in July. July 8th.
That's all we wanted to
Thank you. Okay, back to old business. General obligation notes refunding PFM.
Nope, I got it. Be it resolved that the Southmoreland School Board, 1, accepts the terms of engagement letter and scope of services of PFM Financial Advisors, LLC, to be $15,000 per transaction being defined as separate issues having separate settlement dates, but if no settlement occurs, the school district will not be billed for services rendered, all as in the form attached hereto and incorporated by reference. Number 2, the initial financing plan is to issue new debt to mature no later than June 30th, 2029 in an amount estimated as about $769,000 for new roof replacement for the Southmoreland Primary Center and for refunding of existing debt consisting of the Series A of 2020 and the series of 2020 notes, with the final plan subject to the approval of the Board of School Directors, with the total issuance being approximately $20 million. Number 3, the President is authorized and directed to sign the letter of engagement, and the Secretary is to attest thereto.
Need a motion? I need a second. Discussion?
Would you explain this $20 million? Break it down into what we owe that money on.
The 2 bond issues of, notes, general obligation notes that you did in 2020. One was the 2020 series and the other was called the 2020A series. And that was when you did a refinancing then. And those run out. One goes to 2029 and the other one I think is 2028. It was in the material that was presented last week by Zach Williard from PFM.
What does this have to do with the amount of money that we owe on our buildings, our debt service?
That is our debt service.
Well, that's part of your debt service. There are some other bonds, but they're shorter maturities.
Correct.
What will be our total debt then? With this and the existing debt, what would our total debt be?
Again, that was in the materials that were handed out last week, which I didn't bring with me.
So we still pay...
So basically, I think the way to look at it is the previous debt that existed, thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
You had,
Do we still owe $27 million on our buildings?
These two bonds that were issued that they gave us the information for last week. Series of 2020 was $9,237,000.
thank you.
And Series A of 2020 is $8,960,000.
That's net after we get the money back from the state. So that's the local effect. The face amounts are closer to $10,683,000 and $10,035,000. You have a smaller GO bond Series B of 2014. You're paying $2,021,000 this month. Next year, you're going to owe $764,000, and then you're done with it, $764,400. And the general obligation bonds of 2013, you're paying off this year in this month for $122,400. So what you have left after those two events are the two note series that we've been talking about.
Every year we pay a debt service fee on our budget, a debt service charge on our budget. And that is, what is that, Mr. Marnell, a couple million?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that goes till 2029, right?
Yes, the current debt will expire in the 28-29 fiscal year.
Mm-hmm. So if I look at the overall debt that Southmoreland has, it's probably about $37 million with this. Our total debt is $37 million just with these two items. This we have here plus the buildings.
No, because it's $10,035,000 plus $10,683,000 plus $2,785,000 plus $122,400.
It's at $23,626,254 in total, so that's principal plus interest.
And
Okay, so it's
$2.9
about
million
40
of that gets paid off at the end of this month. Because it's over.
In my stupidity, are these buildings paid for? The answer is no.
Probably not.
How much do we owe on these buildings?
Just told you.
Say it again, please.
$23,626,254.
Okay.
That's the debt service requirement. The
Okay.
local effort requirements are $17,243,132.
Okay.
Of which we are going to pay off two of those notes, two of those bonds, one for $122,400 and one for $2,785,400.
So that takes that down to about 21 million
Yes,
on the buildings.
on total debt service, not just, that's without any reimbursement. Yes.
We owe 23 million on the buildings, and we're getting 20 million from this.
No.
No,
No.
the new money is $769,000. The two general obligation notes of 2020
there
and
were two other-
2028
two small
are being
ones.
replaced by the new.
That you're dropping the interest rate on those, right?
Right.
Okay. So that comes out to 20 million
Approximately, yes.
with all that. I'm missing something big here because that's not the information I had gotten. But I'm sure the financial wizards are making it good, but it doesn't look good to me. I just don't think we can put people in debt for the next 8 years. We don't even know, like again, my 3 words, long-range plan. We're looking at $20 million debt here in, what, 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. No plan, no nothing, just borrow money.
Is there any other discussion?
I have a quick question, and I apologize because you guys may have done it last week when I wasn't here, but I just wanted to clarify. Right now, we're voting to approve the financial advisors, and then the next matter on the agenda is to approve the bond attorney. And
Or 23.
what does each do? Like, why do we need both of them? I know that's a really basic way to put it, but like...
Well,
Yeah, but
back
that's small.
in
We still have like 21 million
2019,
plus the 20.
No. We're refinancing a bond for 20 million.
That's right.
With the
the
700.
school district,
That's right. But that's still a debt.
either
It's a
2019 or
debt.
2018.
It's
Yeah.
a
I think
debt.
it's
A bond
2019.
is a debt.
Engage the services of
Yeah, I
PFM
I'm right. I'm right.
as a way of not being dependent upon bond issuers.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Bond issuers.
Okay.
To in effect both sell us bonds and advise us.
Okay,
To sort of separate that function out.
okay,
And their job is to analyze our debt structure, come up with proposals as to how to borrow new monies or refinance existing debts, refund existing debt is the correct term, and then to assist by getting quotes for bank loans and or estimating bond issuances and what they would realize,
okay,
and generating interest in that.
okay,
Bond counsel provides the legal advice
okay,
and takes care of the advertising, any kinds of financial statements, works with the business manager and usually the attorney to review those. And they have different requirements depending upon whether it's going to be a bond issue or just a bank loan. Bond issues are usually more extensive. So the bond counsel has to pay close attention if you're doing a lending that will qualify to be exempt from federal income taxation, to make sure that we are following IRS regulations in regards to that, plus the Public Debt Act for Pennsylvania. And so that's their function.
okay. All right, thank you. That actually is very,
Can I
very
ask a
helpful.
question real quick?
Yes.
So let me just make sure I understand, because I can hear Dr. Fike's questions and everyone else's. So we have $23 million in debt. We need another 700,000 some. So we are borrowing 20,700,000 some and paying off that other 20 million with a refinanced debt. So we don't owe 43 million, we owe 23 million plus the 700,000, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
just making sure.
What are the fees that are involved? What are the fees?
They're in the resolutions.
It's a different resolution.
The
we just read.
PFM is $15,000 per transaction. And then,
$15,000.
yes, and then bond counsel is the same, except they've got some additional costs for the advertising and things like that. He has to put a big ad in the newspaper, and he has to do some other filings and things like that. And that's dollar for dollar, whatever it is, it is.
And that's the end of the fees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Rhodes? Yes. Mrs. Kristen Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
No.
Mrs. O'Rear? Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 no, 2 absent.
Okay, Bond Counsel, Dinsmore.
Be it resolved that Southmoreland School Board, 1, accepts the terms of engagement letter and scope of services of Dinsmore and Scholl LLP with Clifford Pastel as the primary attorney to be $19,000 for a single note or bond issue, but of two separate transactions, $15,000 per transaction. Transaction being defined as separate issues having separate settlement dates plus reimbursement for cost estimated at $2,000 per bond or note issue, but if no settlement occurs, the school district will not be billed for services rendered, all as in the form attached hereto and incorporated by reference. Number 2, the initial financing plan is to issue new debt to mature no later than June 30th, 2029 in an amount estimated as about $769,000 for new roof replacement for the Southmoreland Primary Center and for refunding of existing debt consisting of the Series A of 2020 and the Series of 2020 notes, with the final plan subject to the approval of the Board of School Directors, with the total issuance being approximately $20 million. Number 3, the President is authorized and directed to sign the letter of engagement, and the Secretary is to attest hereto.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sorry. Because I'm just a newbie, but like as far as a bond, like is a bond and a note kind of basically the same?
I can't hear you.
Is
Is
a bond
bond?
and a note the same thing?
They're similar, but not exactly the same. Notes are usually involved with bank lending. Bonds are securities that are issued and can go out into the public markets.
Okay.
There's some other fine points in the Local Debt Act relating to that, but essentially you're either going out to investment banks in the public markets with bonds, whereas bank loans are geared towards a specific bank is going to buy it. They may or may not have the plan to sell parts of it to other banks or investors, but when they buy them, banks usually are buying them for their own purposes.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Kristen Smith.
Yes.
Dr. Fike.
No.
Mrs. O'Rear.
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond.
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 no, 2 absent.
At some point, and I don't know when it'll be, we're going to ask to walk on this additional authorization for preparation for sale and issuance of general obligation bonds or notes, and to add to it that it be presented on July 8th, 2021. So I don't know when you want to take that
Do
up.
we have a motion to walk that on?
And then you'll have to,
Am I going to need 5 votes for that?
well, you do a voice vote, but if it's challenged, you have to have 5, yes.
I'm going to need to walk this on right away because Mrs. Smith is going to need to be excused for the rest of this meeting. She's on a mission trip. So can I,
Okay, this is authorization for preparation for sale and issuance of the general obligation bonds or notes. It's about a half-page long. I'll be happy to read it when he comes to it, but it's basically to tell PFM Financial Advisors and Dinsmore and Scholl LLP to start their work and come back on July 8th.
so I need a motion to walk this item on.
Add it to the agenda.
I need a, isn't that the consent?
Yes.
Okay. I need a second.
All in favor?
All in favor, sorry. Aye. Opposed? Okay, I need a motion to take a 5-minute recess to allow for public comment on this issue, and then we're going to come back and vote on that.
I will make that motion.
I need a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, 5 minutes.
Made the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Citizens' comments?
None.
Want me to read the resolution?
Yes, please.
Authorization for preparation for sale and issuance of general obligation bonds or notes. Board of School Directors of the Southmoreland School District. The school district does hereby authorize the administration to work with PFM Financial Advisors, LLC as financial advisor, Dinsmore and Scholl, LLP as bond counsel, and the local solicitor in conjunction with issuance of general obligation bonds and/or notes for the purposes of providing funding for capital projects in the approximate amount of $769,000 and for refunding the school district's general obligation note series of 2020 and general obligation note series A of 2020 via a dual track process between bank loans and/or bond issues. The financial advisor and bond counsel in consultation with the school district officials and the school district solicitor are authorized and directed on behalf of the school district to take such actions as are necessary, appropriate, and customary for the bond or note issues, including obtaining bids for bank loans, preparation and dissemination of preliminary official statements, publication of required legal notices, preparation of the required bond or note resolutions, borrowing-based certificates, debt statements, and other required documents, advertising of the bond or note resolutions in accordance with the Local Government Unit Debt Act, submission of applications to rating agencies and bond insurance companies with respect to the proposed notes, bonds or notes, and preliminary marketing of the bonds or notes, and to present the necessary information and resolutions at the July 8, 2021 meeting beginning at 7 p.m.
I need a motion.
I will make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No, this has to be a roll call.
I'm sorry. Okay, roll call, I'm sorry.
Dr. Fike?
No.
I'm sorry? Dr. Fike?
No.
Mrs. O'Rear? Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Kristen Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 no, 2 absent.
Mrs. Smith would like to be excused for the rest of the meeting. Would you please make note of that, Mrs. Carson?
Thank you, Mrs. Smith.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Christy.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm going to end her session, okay?
Number 7. Pre-K counts MOU.
Board is asked to approve the 2021-2022 Memorandum of Understanding with the Private Industry Council of Westmoreland, Fayette County for pre-K counts.
I need a motion.
I will make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Does this cost us anything?
No, they pay $9,000.
It doesn't cost us anything,
No.
no. I just wondered why we're doing this, why we're taking the roll call vote.
They're using our facilities.
Electricity.
They're what, Vince?
They use our classroom.
Yeah, they have for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a roll call vote. I thought if it didn't cost you anything, you just did a voice vote, but I guess not. No problem.
Roll call?
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes. 2 absent, 3 absent.
Calendar revisions?
Board is asked to approve the revised 2021-2022 school calendar, and the reason it was revised was there was an Act 80 day scheduled for November 15th. Asked if we could please move it to Friday, November 12th to facilitate parent-teacher conferences that day.
Need a motion? I need a second.
I will second.
All those in, do we need a roll call here too? With the school
No.
calendar?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? East Huntington, LERTA.
Be it resolved that Southmoreland School Board approves the LERTA for the designated areas of East Huntington Township for the period of longevity of the availability of accepting LERTA applications for the schedule of abatement, tax reduction, and according to the terms and conditions set forth therein, as set forth in the form of the resolution attached hereto, incorporated by reference.
I can read that, Vincent.
Okay.
I know it's a long haul.
Okay.
As an announcement, East Huntington Township passed their resolution, which this resolution tracks, this afternoon at their 3:15 meeting. The recommended action is to approve a resolution of Southmoreland School Board establishing tax exemptions for improvements within the certain designated areas within the Township of East Huntington Township, which is a political subdivision within the geographic boundaries of the school district pursuant to Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance Act. Whereas the Act of December 1, 1977, number 76, PS Section 4722, I'm sorry, that's Act number 76, and then the citation is 72, PS Section 4722. It's Act known as the Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance Act, LERTA, L-E-R-T-A, authorizes the exemption from tax of improvements to industrial properties qualifying as deteriorated areas under the Act. And whereas there are properties within the Township of East Huntington, Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, Township, which are also within the geographic boundaries of the Southmoreland School District, which the Township Board of Supervisors, as a matter of legislative finding, believes contains deteriorated properties as defined within the Act. And whereas a public hearing was held by the Township on June 10, 2021, in accordance with the requirements of Section 4 of the Act to give other agencies and individuals an opportunity to present their recommendations and input concerning the location and designation of the areas within East Huntington Township which will qualify for tax exemption as deteriorated areas. And whereas the Southmoreland School Board, Southmoreland, on May 3, 2021, had expressed approval of such areas within the Township by resolution, and whereas the Township of East Huntington believes that such tax incentives as anticipated under the LERTA Act would be beneficial to the Township and residents of the Township by encouraging job growth and economic development within the Township itself, and enacted an ordinance establishing the same at a public meeting on June 24, 2021, beginning at 3:15 p.m. local prevailing time and prior to the beginning of the Southmoreland's public meeting beginning at 7 p.m. And whereas the Southmoreland School Board also believes that passing this resolution would be beneficial to the school district and its residents by encouraging job growth and economic development and increasing the real estate tax base. Now therefore be it resolved that, with the above recitals being incorporated by reference, the Board of School Directors of Southmoreland School District does resolve and enact as follows. 1. Definitions. Deteriorated property. Any industrial, commercial, or other business property owned by an individual, association, or corporation and located in a deteriorating area as hereinafter provided, or any such property which has been the subject of an order by governmental agency requiring the unit to be vacated, condemned, or demolished by reason of noncompliance with laws, ordinance, or regulations. Improvement. Repair, construction, or reconstruction, including alterations and additions having the effect of rehabilitating a deteriorated property so that it becomes habitable or attains higher standards of safety, health, economic use, or amenity, where it's brought into compliance with laws, ordinances, or regulations governing such standards. Ordinary upkeep and maintenance shall not be deemed an improvement. Local taxing authority, a county, city, borough, incorporated town, township, institution, district, or school district, having authority to levy real property taxes. Municipal governing body, a city, borough, incorporated town, or township. Number 2, the areas attached hereto as Exhibit A and made a part hereof shall be designated as deteriorated areas and thereby eligible to participate in the tax exemption under LERTA. The exemption for properties qualifying for tax exemption shall only apply to those properties on which improvements were commenced or occupancy initiated, whichever is later on or after the date of the adoption of the ordinance, and no later than June 30, 2024, after which time eligibility will cease for those properties which have not been previously qualified. 4, the exemption from taxes on improvements to the designated areas within East Huntington Township portion of Southmoreland School District shall be on the following schedule. Year 1, 100%. Year 2, 100%. Year 3, 75%. Year 4, 50%. Year 5, 30%. Year 6, 15%. Year 7, no exemptions, fully taxable. Number 5, the above stated exemptions shall commence on the date that the improvement to the property is occupied or when the occupancy permit has been issued, whichever occurs first. 6, the exemption from taxes will be limited to the additional assessment valuation attributable to the actual cost of new construction or improvements to deteriorated property or not in excess of the maximum cost per unit established by the township. The exemption from taxes authorized by the ordinance shall be upon the property exempted and shall not terminate upon the sale or exchange of property. 8, no tax exemption shall be granted if the property owner does not comply with all permitting requirements. 9, any person or entity desiring tax exemption pursuant to this ordinance shall notify the taxing secretary of the Township of East Huntington in writing at the time of submission for construction modification certificate, and a form shall be provided at such time. 10, the form shall request the following information. 1, the name and address of the property owner. 2, the anticipated date of start of construction. 3, the address of property for which exemption is being requested. 4, the nature of such improvements. 5, the anticipated use of such improvements. 6, the anticipated cost of such improvements. 7, the anticipated date of completion. 11, upon receipt of the request, the same shall be forwarded to the Board of Assessment Appeals of Westmoreland County. The Board of Assessment, following completion of new improvements, shall assess the new improvements and calculate the amount of assessment eligible for tax exemption in accordance with the schedule established by the local taxing authority pursuant to this ordinance. Thereafter, the Board of Assessment shall notify the taxpayer and Southmoreland School District and East Huntington Township of the reassessment amounts of the assessment eligible for exemption pursuant to this resolution. 12, appeals from the assessment in the amounts eligible for exemption may be taken by the taxpayer or Southmoreland School District in accordance with the established law. 13, this ordinance shall become in full force and effect unless terminated by subsequent ordinance or on June 30, 2024, whichever occurs first, except for the completion of the schedule set forth in Section 4 for properties which have previously qualified. 14, if any part of this resolution shall be found to be illegal, invalid, or unconstitutional, the remainder shall not be affected in any way and shall remain in full force and effect. Resolved and enacted this 24th day of June, 2021. The legal description I'm going to shorten it by referring to the deed book references and pages. Exhibit A, the description of the property that it comprises Westmoreland Distribution Park East, Plan Number 1, being recorded in the Office of the Recorder of Deeds of Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, at Plan Book Volume 91, pages 2124 through 2126, and Westmoreland Distribution Park West, Plan Number 1, as recorded in the Office of the Recorder of Deeds at Plan Book Volume 91, pages 2127 through 2129. And then it's all those two pieces, tracts, or parcels of land situated in East Huntington Township, County of Westmoreland, and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, being designated as Parcel 1B and Parcel 1C in the Westmoreland County Industrial Development Authority subdivision as recorded in the Office of the Recorder of Deeds of Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, Plan Book Volume 90, pages 291 to 295 inclusive, and being more particularly bound and described as follows. And then is the meets and bounds description for Tract 1, Parcel 1B. It contains 95.02 acres, or 4,139,000 square feet, more or less. Tract 2, Parcel 1C, contains 59.80 acres, or 2,604,958 square feet, more or less. The description has been prepared in accordance with the plan of survey performed by Harry E. Scholl, registered surveyor, number 10064-E of Neelan Engineers, Inc., dated October 1997. Being the same premises which the Pennsylvania Industrial Development Authority, a public body, corporate, and politic by deed dated December 12, 1997, and recorded January 15, 1998 in the Office of Recorder of Deeds of Westmoreland County, and deed book volume 3551, page 350, granted and conveyed to Westmoreland County Industrial Development Corporation, a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation. As a piece of information, I've been informed through the Westmoreland County Industrial Development Authority that this project is still potentially available for this location, with a final decision not yet having been made. Westmoreland County, I believe, would be passing this in their meeting in July.
They need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
I will second.
Just a second. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
No.
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 5 yes, 1 no, 2 absent. Oh, 6, I'm sorry, 6 is...
3.
Of 5 yes,
3 absent.
3 absent, I'm sorry.
I need a motion to table the plan between Southmoreland School District and Southmoreland School District support staff.
I will make that motion.
I need a second. I'll do a voice vote.
Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Payment of musical staff.
The board is asked to consider the payment of musical supplementals. That would include Sean Conway, director, vocal coach at $1,960. Jamie Gore, producer, conductor, and publicist at $1,460. Chelsea Forbes Conway, artistic director and costume designer, $1,250. Kaylee Hansberry, choreographer and acting coach at $1,250 for a total of $6,170. And they are also asking the board to reconsider recoding a portion of the salary code to pay musical vendors at the amount of $5,150, which would include Dwight Brown from Good Sounds, audio engineer at $2,400. Jillian Kahn, Westmoreland Media Group, videographer at $1,500. Josh Wiltrout and Cody Swink, J&C Lighting rentals at $1,250, and I would like to note that there was allotted $13,000 in the budget, and they have not exceeded that money. It's actually, the total is they were allotted $13,500, and the total was $11,320. So they were under budget for the play of $2,180.
Need a motion? I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
$1,500, do we then and even like if it's under?
We still have to approve the expenditures.
This is,
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying. We already approved them for the budget, but we have to approve what they spent the money on.
Is there any other discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes, 3 absent.
Retirement of Lisa Gephardt.
board is asked to accept the resignation retirement of Lisa Gephardt as van driver effective immediately, and I would like to thank Mrs. Gephardt for all her years of service here at Southmoreland.
I need a motion.
Make the motion.
I need a second. Discussion. Roll call.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes? Yes. Mrs. Williams?
Yes, and I would like to thank her for her service to Southmoreland.
Motion carries 6 yes, 3 absent.
I need a motion to table the Act 93 agreement.
I'll make the motion.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Before we recess for 5 minutes for citizens' comments, I would just like to take a minute. Mr. Swink is leaving us effective June 30th. I would like to thank him for his service to the district as athletic director, transportation director, and thrown into custodial supervisor this year. I would also like to thank Mr. Marnell who will be leaving us at the end of the month. And I would like to thank Mr. Patonic, who would probably like to be leaving us at the end of the month, but I think we're still going to be making some phone calls and finishing some things up. But I would like to thank them all for their service to the district. We appreciate everything you've done for us.
Quite well.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mrs. Rhodes.
I want to take a few minutes to publicly thank Mr. Patonic for his many years of service to this district. Your guides throughout the years have kept us on the straight and narrow. You have always had our best interest at heart and have served us with integrity, sincerity, and fidelity. Thank you again. I also wanted to thank Mr. Warnell for his years of service. Enjoy your retirement and then your grandbaby.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, both of you. And Mr. Swink also.
Yes.
I also would like to thank Mr. Swink, Mr. Marnell, and Mr. Patonic. Thank you for your dedicated service and, working together. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Quite welcome.
I need a motion for a 5-minute recess.
Michelle, before you
I'm
do
sorry.
that, I have something I'd like to discuss. I've been getting phone calls at home, and I'd like to share this and find out what I'm supposed to tell these people. There are basically 3 things that I'm getting calls about. Apparently Hempfield has put out a plan for the fall, no masks and this and that and the other thing. And the parents who called me said they want to know what is our plan. What's going to happen in Southmoreland in the fall? They're concerned because they're predicting another pandemic with COVID Delta. And they are questioning if there will be in-person instruction, if there will be masks. A big concern they have is vaccinations. Are kids going to be, we're going to force children to get vaccinations? And I've had several calls, again, asking about whether critical race theory in 1619, are we going to be guaranteed that it's not going to be taught in Southmoreland?
There is no curriculum in Southmoreland School District for critical race theory or the 1619 project.
So I can tell them that that's a guarantee.
I wouldn't say it's guaranteed.
Yes.
That's a guarantee, yeah.
Also, our health and safety plan for the fall will be voted on at our next meeting, which will be July 8th.
You have a plan then?
We don't have the plan yet. It will be finalized and voted on July 8th.
Okay,
That will not include vaccines, just so everybody here is aware. That is not a Southmoreland board decision. It will involve masking, social distancing, those types of things will be discussed in that plan. I know some other districts have already moved towards that. Some districts don't have July meetings, so that may be why they've finalized their plans already.
Okay, so I can tell these people that on July 8th they will know
Yes,
what's going to happen.
yes.
Isn't there some kind of a meeting or outreach or something for
Yes, there
early
is a
July?
meeting with the stakeholders that have been involved in the ESSER's funding, and those people will be meeting again and finalizing that. But yes, everything will be done on July 8th. Has to be submitted to the state by July 30th. So that since that's our only meeting in July, it will be voted on July 8th.
And Michelle, this has nothing to do with my personal take on this, but there's been some powerful research coming out of the University of Florida Mass Spectrometry Research and Education Center. And what they did is they took a large number of kids and adults, and they had to put on a clean, freshly laundered mask in the morning or a new mask. And they had to wear them for 5 to 8 hours, and then they were sent to a laboratory for analysis. And it showed the presence of strep, tuberculosis, meningitis, keratitis, encephalitis, pneumonia, food poisoning, Lyme disease, diphtheria, Legionnaire's disease, and 2 kinds of staph. And the only thing that didn't show up on the masks were COVID. So I just think that if we have a plan where our kids have to wear masks, we have to have some way to either launder them or change them during the day or do something to guarantee their safety according to this research. And I just think it's something we need to consider. I've watched the kids. They're blowing their nose, they're spitting on them, and they're pulling them off. And I know that. That's what kids are. I raised a bunch of them. But I think we need to include in that plan a way for us to make sure that there is good hygiene if you're going to require masks. I'm concerned about that. Thank you.
Anyone have anything else? Okay. 5 minute, I need a motion for a 5-minute recess.
This is for public comment.
This is for public comment. I need a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Opposed? Citizens' comments?
Jan Kiefer, 628 Homestead Avenue,
Wait
Dead
one
Man's
second, are we-
Curve, part of the township.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jan Kiefer, 628 Homestead Avenue, Dead Man's Curve, part of East Huntington Township. I got to know Mr. Marnell over the years while you guys were in executive session, and you might not know that, but we did have time to get to know each other. And the last thing I could comment is on the business part of his performance here, but I can tell the character of the person, and I'm really going to miss that because I think that came through his work. Now I don't know how it came through his work, but again, I spent a lot of time with Mr. Marnell over the years. Serious time, I'm not here to talk about the little things, right? Mr. Patonik's another question. I think you're leaving unfinished business. Your problems aren't going to follow you. It's never been a personal thing with Mr. Patonik, but I think it's very important to show how the solicitor really sets the personality for the school board. Like he tells you you can't talk about this and this, and instead of saying, okay, then you should say, well, how far can we talk about this and this? It's always the same thing, executive session, personnel, and you tell us nothing. And we have big issues like the Richard Love story and the teacher's contract and other things out there that you just don't want to talk about. Maybe the spring election, Mrs. Raymond could maybe talk about that if our solicitor doesn't want to talk to her. I think we need to get all the words. I think I know everything about the election, and I don't hear anything coming out of the mouths up here. So why doesn't someone else come up here and tell me everything you know about the election? Hey, you're all candidates. Did you ever see a petition before? Are petitions transferable? I guess they are. But and then segues then into what I really want to get up here to say. What I notice as a community and as a nation is we don't have any inner discussions or debates. You don't see Anthony Fauci debating some of these brilliant, super credentialed people who are opposing everything he does. You don't see this head of the CDC or the World Health Organization come out and debate. And they could debate people within orthodoxy, not just alternative people. And that filters down to here. When we just brought up the issue of masks, someone on your board here tell me that you have somewhat of a command of the issue of the damage that you're putting on the children by making them wear masks. Christy Smith said, oh, anyone can wear a mask that I want to, but by damn, she made her students wear masks by her votes and her participation on this board, so that was disingenuous. So, you displayed to me by omission that you're woefully ignorant on the COVID issue, and I want to get off the COVID issue because I'll move on to that. If you had your little outreach stakeholders committee, who the hell has more stake here than I do? Who has more expertise on this subject? Who has brought it to the public's attention more than I have? Over how much time that I have? And you have your damn little meeting and say we're going to vote on this. Mr. Masha, I think you ought to walk out on this team. You see me, you know how much passion I have for this, and to move on with this on a project that has to have public input is just disgraceful to every person up there. I take it personally. I mean, I don't take it personally. I look at you personally, and I think it's a disgrace. And thanks for looking me in the eyes. And so remember when, well, I'm not going to jump on. I'll save that one for next. All right. So I've sort of spent my life trying to figure out this silent majority issue. Like, who is the silent majority, and where are they? How do they come forward? And I've always been an outsider, and I see this silent majority. And when they get pushed and pushed, like we're pushed as a country, economically, socially, surveillance-wise, health-wise, people will push back. Whether they have strength to push back much, or exactly when it's going to be, or if there'll ever even be an opportunity in our world today to push back. It's a big subject to figure out. But there'll be a pushback. And so let's talk about vaccinations. You don't want to talk about vaccinations. You don't think you have a part of it. Again, for the lawyers up there. I went to your vaccination page, looked at it. You have it as, the requirements, and on that page, it has nothing to say about the opting out, the conscientious objection. So you do have something about vaccinations. And if you have an interest in children and you don't know this vaccination issue and you're not speaking out on it, then I think that you're, again, absent or asleep at the stick. I don't care if Southmoreland does have the right to segregate non-vaccinated kids from
Thank
coming
you,
into
Mr.
school.
Kiefer. Your time is up.
Now, give me another moment, please. On this vaccination issue, I think it's the biggest health issue that's going to hit the children. And if you just sit by, and here's my point. I'll be brief. I appreciate the extra time. This fall, your CDC and your Pennsylvania Department of Health, two agencies which you have been in lockstep. I defy you to show me one thing that you didn't do that they told you to do. If they're going to come out this fall and say we want vaccinated kids or non-vaccinated kids remote learning, you're going to have to deal with that question. And you're going to either have to stand up as a citizen and fight that, or stand up and say we're going to follow it. And I want to hear how you're going to, your knowledge base on this. And that's where this ad hoc, or this committee that you created for interested stakeholders comes in. You put me at that table and it's going to be a different conversation, I'm pretty sure. So this is your responsibility to bring in the public. You didn't do it. And the consequences are grave on a lot of these issues.
Thank you, Mr. Kiefer. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.